Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Speed Gaming Live 2023 Final Fantasy Randomizer Tournament! Yay! Everyone get your jazz hands out.
Not seeing a lot of jazz hands yet, but excited for the race. Looks like it's going to be a interesting one with both of these runners fighting their way up the lower bracket.
Yes, we have Serisan on one end, who was actually knocked out by Pickles and Beer in the finals last bracket as well. So it was just simply a matter of, well, this is his opportunity for that rematch if he can manage to beat Odraun. But Odraun, a watcher of mine and a very wonderful racer in his own right. So this is going to be a match to end all matches and get their shot at taking the finals against Pickles and Beer. That said, my runner here, Fiend, or my co-commentator, Fiend, what do you want to tell us about these fun class options?
Well, we know that they're both going to start with the Black Belt Thief and the White Mage. The Black Belt will have plus 10 Vitality, so nothing... well, as I say that, the race is starting, so let's see what spells they got going on.
Ooh, Life and Heal, always a good early choice, especially when you're locked into that White Mage. That said, I did notice that our Thief has like a plus 15 agility, so they have every opportunity for running. Now granted, they can't get any of these black spells, but they are going to be doing their best to check them on the way, because there are 3 points over the course of the run where they will be allowed to swap out a character or that blank slot with one of the promoted mages. There is no other promotion available in this, so they are locked into Black Belt, Thief, White Mage otherwise, and each of those promoted mages will start at whatever level they replace, which means if you replace the blank slot, they will be at 0, because that slot is not gaining experience.
Oh, did they turn the nuns gain experience on?
I do not believe so, from my memory of watching the rest of the tournament.
Okay, I know the runners have made a couple changes tonight. We will see Warmech, according to their racer agreement. And if they decide to go Volcano, the carry orb will not count, even though we are on a 3-orb requirement tonight.
Yes, so they can go to any 3, if I recall correctly? What is their agreement? I missed that part.
They have to go to Earth, Sea, and Air. If they get the Fire Orb, according to their agreement, it's not going to count for them.
Sounds fair. They've also got a nice starting item in that Zeus Gauntlet, so I believe Zeus casts lightning of some variety when it's attached to an item.
Unless caster items have been shuffled, yes.
Alright, so there is actually the White Wizard immediately. We'll see if they swap that for their White Mage early, because that will be more spell slots. They could also, just add it to the extra slot. Odraun taking that 4th member. That does mean a little bit less experience overall, but we'll see if Serisan makes the same choice. Also, life level 1 and usable in battle, we want those extra casters.
And the Harm 2 sweeper there with improved Harm magic being on. We see the ship and the Adamant come out of the King and Princess, so they have early access to sea. I imagine they'll head on over to Picky.
Especially as one of the ones they have to do. Now that said, they are going to be looking for a very easy to access grind tile, and from what I understand, there are a couple of those in sea that would be pretty good choices to go with.
Question in chat, which has already been answered, but can the Volcano have an incentive item? Not tonight. Tonight we know exactly where the incentive items are going to be, and those locations, which I won't list through all of them now, but basically Marsh Titans, places you don't typically want to go, like Marsh.
Yeah, so there are no incentive items in any of the main dungeons, basically. So Volcano, Sea Shrine, Sky, and Earth Cave. They won't have incentive items, and the incentive items in the others are randomized as to their locations. So they're not going to be in the typical place if you know much about, and this game. There's also an additional bit where it will never be in the locked chest in Marsh, so they don't need key in order to get their useful Marsh shenanigans. And that is the canal, which means this ship can now go global. That said, I don't believe there's too many extra docks with these world settings. I know that they can walk to a lot of stuff, but I'm no expert on the world layout. I did fail geography.
So we have not too much open, if I remember correctly. I'm gonna check so I'm not misspeaking. I think there's only one additional dock open. Yeah, the Ryukin Desert dock is open, so they can check the desert tile, which I don't know if anyone's gonna... They might do that on their way over to the Sage.
Yeah, that's it. Those level 2 spells were spicy. We got level 2 life available there, as well as invis, so that's a good, casting of don't get hit, please. But even for the black mage, though, even though they don't have one, seeing nuke...
You catch that? You catch the incentive item?
The canal?
The loose floater. We have floater for 5,000 gold. And
Oh my.
Serisan is just short, so he is going to take an encounter, get that as soon as possible. They still need the canoe at this point, though.
We're also going to see a minor bit here, and that is, again, I mentioned that they could replace the White Mage, where Serisan has replaced the White Mage with the White Wizard. Probably a good idea as early as that showed up, just for the sake of if you're not going to go with the extra member, you get the extra spell slots as they level. But this is also going to mean that White Wizard, or that empty experience slot, is going to mean when they do find a good grind, it is going to be a lot better to get that black belt to the requisite level that we need to, as the community calls it, get the punch cannon online.
Yep, because there is no Masa, and the black belt has his traditional crit rate of 1 per level. It's not half tonight either, so...
Lots of punches. So we'll see those runners trying to find their way to the punch. And we have Odraun grabbing up that floater, flying off, Serisan following shortly after. But in terms of it so far, they are pretty much on par with one another. And the only thing that I could say is, in terms of late game stuff, I could see Serisan having that minor advantage just because of that experience grind. With the black belt, it's such an important aspect of the run. And there is getting a ruby from our Odraun. Good old snack for our Titan friend.
And both runners, knowing they're going to have to take on Warmac, are probably going to want a high-level punch mage.
Oh yeah. I'm guessing they're going to take it all the way to 42, unless one of them thinks that they're behind, then maybe try to get away with, 32 is the other big punch level?
Yeah, assuming you don't have any additional agility, I believe.
And there is that black wizard here with, Sarda?
I can never keep the two in track. I know one's in Gaia and one's in the cave. I believe Sarda's in the cave, and then the other sage is in the town. But the other sage has our canoe, so there's our canoe. So we have a lot of the open world now to go to. We can check a lot of areas that. Or wait, there must have been another thing that I missed because they had the airship already.
Yeah, they both picked by after they bought the floater.
Was the other dock on? That must have
There
been
was a
what it
dock
was.
down there.
Okay.
Yep. Because they've got them doing some cleanup, trying to grab as many incentive items as they can. We'll see if Serisan grabs this black wizard with that early level 2 nuke. He doesn't seem to want to promote. Can they not get one after they grab
Tail
one?
is not.
I know Tail's
accessible.
not.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, not promote, but replace. Or add to the extra slot. There is
I think
Rod
they're
for that
locked
element.
in once they take it. I could be wrong on that.
That is mildly unfortunate, especially with the nice range of black mage spells that were available at the early levels. They have to kill the vampire to unlock the black wizard? Alright, thank you there, classic gamer. Me not knowing how half of this stuff works. Matter of fact, someone roll me some beginner settings with these, because I do want to play these in the near future.
Yeah, each recruit is locked to a key NPC, so...
And there is the crown within Bahamut's Horde. That is one of the only incentive items not randomized, was the one in Bahamut's. And that was also the fast way of grabbing it. Because you can either grab it... They do have Horde on, so they can go into Bahamut's room and all of the chests are there, or each of the chests individually. And they are... how do you refer to them? The linked chests, where if you grab them from one, it takes it from the other automatically.
Yeah, that was always something that I needed to work on as far as knowing which one was mapped to which, but I'm sure these runners know exactly which chests are mapped to the other chest or linked to the other chest, like you said.
Oh, likely. I'm going to learn someday. That said, Cure 2 at level 3 is not a terrible pickup. I believe that was the only major spell they grabbed. And level 4, there's Fade, everyone's favorite, and Cure 4. Oof. And I'm not sure what A-Rub does, but...
Slightly lesser nuke, Cure 4 on the same level. You really don't want to see that necessarily, but, they might not be a huge issue if Cure 4 probably not going to need to come out too much. if they've got that high-level punch mage, you're pretty well relying on him to one-shot everything, or two-shot.
Very true, and Odraun does have the advantage of basically having 2 characters worth of all of those slots, so he can get away with getting both and abusing both a little bit. Also, there is the Red Wizard availability. Gonna say no 4th level spots or slots yet. They're not good enough. So
And we
harm
get a little
Astos.
handshake here with both runners taking on the kindly old king.
Yeah, high five on the way past. Now we've got Serisan with a couple more levels because of needing to do that grind in order to grab the floater, and obviously having only 3 party members. We'll see how that plays out as we go. A represents against death, status, and earth. Ah, fancy.
I'm actually surprised that none of the runners have swapped their thief out to try to kill. I know they need the, they want the thief at the top slot to get the agility bonus and but maybe try to kill off some of those characters and start dumping some experience. They may be trying to find a grind tile before they do that.
They have both grabbed a red wizard. Serisan popping it into that empty slot. I missed where Odraun was doing it. I'm guessing over the white slot? No, I think the thief slot, considering they appear to be at the front of the party now. We get to watch good old Van Helsing walking around.
Yep. I'm sure someone has a color swap of that being black, him in pure black. Going back and get Nuke. He liked all those low, easy casts. Gets life too. You're gonna have a caster heavy party here for a while.
Yeah. Now there's a minor disadvantage. Actually, I don't think it's the case because that red wizard looks like to have slots. I've seen a couple of them when they pick it up in fairly late. Like they have none of the early spell slots because of reasons.
Until they level, yeah, they need to gain at least 1 level. Usually, that's what is it? It's the same with like your knight, where you you don't have any spell slots, and then suddenly you have all of them.
Yeah. So it's going to be another kind of interesting deviation. So Serisan now has the party of 4 grabbing that red mage because obviously those level 2 black spells were just too good to pass up for either of our runners. But we also now have the sort of minor disadvantage that Serisan's red mage is going to be slightly lower level, so getting those slots early is going to be iffy. But on top of that, that advantage of only having 3 party members is now gone. They now need to get all 3 of them killed. Serisan's going to have the advantage of being able to run, maintaining that thief, and Odraun's going to have discount Rainbow Warehouse, essentially.
Yeah, just lacking the black mage. Yeah, the thief bonus, they might not be, too worried about the ambushes and things if they're with the floater early and the fact that they're not, though I'm sure they're wanting an overworld grind rather than a deep grind, although they do have the exit spell available, so it's a little bit less dangerous. Of course, if you're grinding your black belt, he's probably going to be the only one alive, so, you really want the overworld.
Gonna say, there's the TNT down as the March incentive. And there's no reason to stay there once you find that. Well, granted, that Pro Cape's kinda nice, but...
Yep, get that death protection going.
Yep.
Or is it the Pro Ring? I can never keep those. The one protects, and the one is just a piece of armor. The shield is just a piece of armor. I think the hat is the one that protects.
I don't know. The only thing I know is that they never work for me, so I will never find out. I always get that 3 and 265. And there is the herb for the TNT, so we get to go back to Elfland. The best time in Marsh when you leave Marsh, exactly. And yes, the Pro Ring is the protection, the Pro Cape is the just defense.
Serisan going to check out what the elf prince has for us, which I'm always wondered why he's the prince. It's like, is the father, is he the dark mage that's over in Western?
I don't know. I don't know anything about this story, I barely know the geography. You expect me to pass history?
Maybe someone in chat will know. I played it as a kid. Like, I still get messed up on the overworld despite having hundreds of hours as a child.
I first got it on PSP. So we have Serisan translating this slab, and I think they have everything to go and not get Looped. Lefane, that's the city. I'm slowly getting better. Thought Astos was the uncle, or at least that's the original story. See, it all depends on if you got the English version or the Japanese, because they're going to be different.
Probably.
Serisan grabbing the secret shop.
The gravestones are different, I know, in Japanese.
2,600 for houses when they've got this much money available, not a bad deal. And those are going to be our major saves. Those tents for 72, cheap. Set them up on the side of the road, you'll be fine.
They are thoroughly set when they find that overworld grind, assuming they find one that they like. I didn't catch, was it a long walk off the power cycle? Is that why they're not searching so much for the overworld?
I'm not sure, I haven't seen much, though Odraun did get the Perilous Trap tile, so they seem to have taken that, and looks like they're going to be taking it for a little bit longer as well. It's
Yeah, that
mummies
Whiz
or pack
Mummy
of
Mummy
Perilous.
pack.
Yeah. Especially with 2 white mages and Harm doing significant damage to them. Not a terrible choice to at least grab a few before leaving Marsh.
Now, if anyone has been watching the races, we know at one point there was a Nuke Mummy pack that caused some issues after a grind, so hopefully we don't see any bad sweeper spells come out in the second or third if it goes that far.
Ooh, apparently, Serisan's thief got caught with the drug. He is domed. And as well, picked up that chime from here from Lefane, and enjoying the Lefanian Superstore to just get everything needed onto that red mage. Odraun finally getting that TNT, taking that exit after a couple of levels, which might make a difference here.
And I like Serisan's strat of having that Stone Thief, because they don't gain experience, but they're alive in a sense that you can just, use a soft on them. But of course he has life spells, so it's not as big of a deal, but it's a nice strategy when you don't have that available.
Odraun picking up the rear, grabbing the herb, and as we know, that's going to lead to Lab, and then subsequently the chime, which is useful because they do need to finish Sky per their agreement. But they can't get in there without Q.
Yep, so we will see, because Tail's not available, the only thing, I mean, they still need Oxyale, obviously. Crystal could, I guess, be maybe an item we don't see, or, one of those items could lead to, I guess, let's see, what is the incentive? Was it a ribbon?
I think there's a ribbon and one of the bonks.
Yeah, power bonk.
Yeah, which in this case I think is Zeus bonk? No. Maybe.
It's hard to tell on the gloves. You can't. There is a way to tell, I believe, by the way the number is set by it. But I'm not familiar enough to know which one they started with.
They do have a Zeus gauntlet. Because they check in this level 5 magic for Odraun here, obviously not knowing that they're taking an immediate trip to Lefen in the Superstore.
Sandwiches.
Yay!
I didn't see if that was the power cycle fight or if he just went up there and started walking. Again, I don't think they had an early, 1 or 2, 3-step or whatever the earliest is, power cycle encounter like they would want for an overworld grind, but let's find out.
Yeah,
it's
a couple of steps.
Yeah, about 15, 18 steps, so not terrible.
But I mean, hey, when you get delicious sandwiches. Meanwhile, Odraun going and grabbing stuff. They really need to find the canoe, because at this point, I think Ice Cave is their last major incentive area that they don't have access to. No, they can get to Ice Cave with just Floater, right?
Yeah, just laying there.
Yeah, so really, they're just, I think, taking a peek for the overworld grinds, and then probably going to get on that route to, well, get back to getting incentives. They also still need the Oxyale, which means probably with the items they have so far, it's probably going to be bottle into crystal into Oxyale.
Could very well be.
Guess. Yeah. Something's going to lead to something.
The lock Corneria is still there, and they do have to have the key, so we know the key is going to come out. Lock Corneria could have one of the items, or it could be the bonk in there as well.
Very true. They don't have Thief lockpicking for this set?
No.
Ooh, Odraun finding some zombie D is not a terrible choice. I was gonna say this Ordeals dip is possibly might pay off. Now granted, Sandwich is obviously being a bit more experience. Granted, they're both down to 3 members at this point. ineffective, no punching.
So right, Serisan will have an advantage once he finishes the grind unless Odraun finds a really good grind, which is entirely possible. Let's say Key, you find Key and then you check like Western Castle or something fairly quick, and you just have a great grind tile in there.
Yeah. Gonna say, a nice light hammer. I think that's one of the ones that cast spells. Oh, nope.
Yes, it cast, in the vanilla game it cast as well, it cast harm too. In this one, if the white mage uses it, it will act as a sweeper. Only the white mage though, because we have improved harm on tonight.
Yeah. Superior harm.
Holy, actually. The way it was intended to probably, of course it was intended to just hurt undead. Of course, Fade, from the later Final Fantasies, you would think it would damage everything.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna call a spell harm, as opposed to turn undead, it's... I know what they were based on. I know what this game's based on.
This one especially, yeah, they even changed some sprites when it came to North America. Removed a few tentacles. Tentacle eyes.
Just a few. I'm on a mission. I restore traditional Japanese graphics to Japanese games English releases.
Do you change the translation back to what was it, Link?
Ooh, that is the key in Ordeals, and we also know that it's Pillar 4.
He is kind of what I was expecting here. I'm hoping he checks some of the key tiles, just because that would be an advantage he would have now if he checks Western or potentially Temple of Fiend's right side.
It's very true. But we will see what Odraun's plan is, as Serisan is finally confident enough to go solo black belt. Just a man, his belt, and a dream.
And fortunately, Improved Dark is not on, or Fixed Dark, actually. It was working as intended, so, I mean, if it was, that black belt might have had a little bit tougher time killing that sandwich.
It's fine. Fourth pillar, best pillar? Nah, I'm pretty sure it's the worst pillar.
It's vanilla pillar, right?
I don't know, is it?
It's the last pillar normally is the vanilla pillar.
There is Odraun getting the bottle. And missing his airship. Releasing
That's me. Every time I miss, then I miss 4 more times. Third is vanilla, thank you, Classic.
It's like swah 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 all the way to the ferry. Because yeah, these additional key grinds are of a potential advantage. If it takes less time to grind up to the requisite level, that is all Odraun's gonna need here, really.
Yeah, and we know he's going to have to get the key, and then potentially, I mean, you're right there, you're probably going to get the bottle, even if the bottle, at this point, it probably, I mean, it's like, 1 in 4, I think, at this point, Crystal, Cube, Oxyale. If it could be Crystal into Bonk, it could be Crystal into one of the required items, or it could just be one of the required items.
And that said, whichever one it's missing is going to be the other one. Ooh, it's the ribbon!
So it was straight into a bonk, but that's not a bonk that, you really would like a ribbon until you get that black belt up to 42, where his MDef is such, where he doesn't need the ribbon anymore.
There's also got the fair advantage on Odraun's side of having 2 white mage casts, so getting the ribbon on one of them as well, just in terms of having the one that you can keep protected and the other one to get it up if anything goes wrong. I think that ribbon's a good thing for Odraun, at least. Serisan, when they get around to it, not quite as sure.
Yeah, because, you're at that point, if, a death spell comes out on the bosses, it's a quick reset, or you just continue on with the black belt and hope. It is short Temple of Fiends tonight, so we're not going to have, 30-45 minutes of bonking at a Temple of Fiends, hopefully.
The Fenians bullying Odraun. Won't let him out. And stopping by all these stores just to see if there's anything needed for that red mage. And in the first slot, it's easily available to just grab it if it's necessary. There is fast at 6, which I'm not sure if our runners will want to be there for the fast. It's going to make, obviously, a lot of fights easier and allow slightly lower black belt level. But I'm not 100% sure. At least having it is better than not, if it ends up getting there. And hey, look, some steak!
The lesser of the steaks, this would be the sirloin.
Red Wage can't learn 6 since when?
At that slot, I think it was. Was it the first and second they could learn, but not third and fourth, or something like that?
Are the spells randomized for this? I'm not sure, so.
The spells are randomized, but the slots that they can't learn, they stay the same.
So Red Wizard will never get to 6?
No, he can learn. I think he can learn 2 of the 6 there. First and last, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, just slot 1 at level 6. Okay, thank you, Danny.
That seems weird, but okay.
So
I will never understand how spells work.
That's why Red Mage is a little bit more difficult. For your white magic spells, says anywhere where the harm spell was, they can't learn that. Was it life? The life spells, normally they can't learn, I think life 2, whatever slot that was at, life 1. They had some disadvantages in vanilla.
Level 6 Right Wizard can learn 2 to 4. All but the first in white level 6. They may have gotten a fast bonk in Titan. We'll have to check. We'll have to see how the major fights start going.
Neither of our runners have gone into Waterfall yet, which was their other runner agreement, where it will be a proc gem, which not going to take too much more time, but it's a fun thing to see.
Odraun taking a peek in the Hall of Giants. Ooh, a seafood party platter.
That's not exactly what you see as when you're trying to solo grind a black belt, but
definitely not. Serisan's black belt already hitting for 1k. Yep, he's a spicy boy. He's up to those 8 hits. And strength means nothing. He's level 37, so he's really close to the end of that grind, and will pretty much just be walking to the end of the game with him. As
more than likely, unless he runs across like a really dangerous pack with sweeper nukes or something, he is in a really good position.
Yeah. Odraun starting to check those trap tiles. I think there was one with sharks, but not good enough for a black mage grind.
No, and they had a high absorb too, and you really don't want to see any more than
double
1
frosty.
or 2.
That's not terrible.
Let's hope they have low health for him.
Poison, not fun.
Damage poison, kind of saying, nope, we're not going to take this tile.
Yep. That's at a clean 2k at least for now. Healing up. Giant tile, not worth it. And quick exit.
You know, I've been saying it all through this. I think it's only happened maybe once where they go in without max level, that 10-hit black belt, and you just nuke fade it. I mean, it's short Temple of Fiends. You can do it. I would like to see it happen at least once. Maybe it'll happen tonight.
Oh my god. Death spiders.
Well, I mean, we know who rolled the seed.
I mean, Daddy did roll the seed.
If it's not nuke, it's death touch.
Odraun peeking Ice Cave. A, there's an incentive in here. B, we got more trap tiles. Dude. And Serisan finished with that grind, going into Ice Cave as well. Obviously, still needs to get access to that key and the other such things, so it's going to be a little bit of advantage in terms of Odraun being ahead on items, but, well, unless Serisan conveniently misses the bottle entirely, we're going to see...
It's possible. I mean, his route will likely change because of that high-level black belt. Not as worried about diving in and, just going for things. Mm-hmm. That being said, once you enter a dungeon, the only thing you're there for is to kill the fiends, so...
Yep. Gotta DDT a couple of fiends. Suplex that train.
Yeah. I mean, we're almost 30 minutes in and we still have no orb slit.
Yeah. That's how most of these races have been.
Yeah, because you got that black belt. Whenever they do go in, he just goes in.
Could say, I wonder. There is going to be a dummy incentive item essentially, because they don't need Canoe basically at all. And it's not like playing games that I do where you can go do things much out of sequence. You're pretty stuck into it.
Yeah, it could be Crystal that leads to the power bonk.
Ooh, Eye. Hey, that's good Eye. Oh yeah, he's already grinded.
Yes, but you know he was going to see it for sure.
Yep.
The person who hasn't.
Yep. That's gonna be Odraun's grind right there. Though first grabbing the treasure. Oh, is he not going down? No! Odraun!
He did not check it, and I don't think he is going to check it.
Oh no, there it is. Oh, thank God. Alright, there we go. You see that
Okay.
little delay of like, oh, here it is.
He just wanted to put on a good show. He had everyone holding their breath for that 30 seconds while he was menuing.
Yep. And with already one... What? I mean, I guess trying to get the incentive item first before going for the grind makes sense. There's the Oxy Ale, so that's one of the things they needed. Which means
Yep.
Cube is probably still behind Crystal then. I think it's got no other choice.
And while it is a good grind tile, he hasn't seen everything that could potentially come out of Ice Cave either, and he definitely does not want to lose a grind walking out and running into, let's say, Nuke Frost Wolves or something.
This is true. There's that crystalline waterfall. As Odraun grinds down on these icy floors. Just, rubs the face right in there.
And he's getting them down. He's 55 health left on that. He just doesn't, as long as he doesn't accidentally heal one of them.
Yep. Alright, good old Run the Red Wizard. Cure and 4 all up. And punch away! As Serisan is going to be going for that first orb already. Now granted, they don't have Key, they don't have Cube. And we know... Oh, they do have Crystal. Where would they pick that up? When I wasn't paying attention because I was watching the grind.
The Oxiel came out of Frost Cave, right?
Yes.
So Crystal would have... I'm not sure. It might just be one of those things where the tracker, like, he clicked it and corrected it and the tracker may not have been caught up.
Oh yeah, Crystal was in Waterfall, right.
Waterfall, okay.
Yeah, so that said, Serisan might end up missing that bottle entirely, so it's really going to depend on this eye grind. And there goes that white mage. So, the power! Serisan seemingly having a little bit of stream difficulty. Our apologies for that. Can't really help it. So we get to watch Odraun punch some eyes in.
Very quickly, too.
Yep. That said, getting out of here is going to be spicy. This isn't the best tile.
No, we just have to hope that there's nothing on that walk. Of course, once he commits, you commit. I would hope to 42. That way, he has like ribbon level magic defense.
Oh, on an eye, 100%.
He could move the ribbon, but I would assume he's going to take the black belt to where he won't even need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe Odraun was the one who picked up the ribbon. That was the Lupa Lupa item.
Yes. Or no, it was behind Fairy.
Yep, you're right. I'm sure there are good tracker notes that our tracker is keeping tonight, and I'm not referring to them. Well, I need to do that.
Yep. Unlike, yeah, no, I'm terrible. I get too caught up in the action. Looks like Serisan took on Kraken while we were blinking. Very long blink.
Oh yes, Socket our tracker tonight, keeping excellent notes, and I apologize for not looking at them. Notable grind tiles is got down. Let's see. They got in the air, so this is amazing. They got in the air. Odraun got in the air at 5 minutes 24, and Serisan got in the air at 6 minutes and 7. So if you're just joining us, that should tell you how quick the seed was.
Gonna say healing up that black belt. He is now in One Punch Man range. One punch! Dude. There's Serisan getting that cube, which means Sky's in order. Everything except for Key is achieved, and that's only needed for going into Temple of Fiends properly. Which means that Serisan's got a very good item advantage at this point.
And he is in Fiend punching mode.
Yep. The major equalizer, as always, is going to be the Temple of Fiends Revisited, and I'm hoping for a spicy black belt hating chaos.
We'll have to hope for the the undead pack or something of that nature, something that really just doesn't favor the black belt. Of course, both runners are going to have those low early nuke fade. With short Temple of Fiends, it's it's not like you lose 10 minutes or 8 minutes of walk, but
very true. Odraun would have a very big advantage against a pack final boss, though, with both of those white mages having access to harm and fade. So really, it's all up to chaos. As Odraun is just finishing up that grind. That said, in terms of things that are left, Waterfall is going to be the only major thing, and at this point, there's no way he doesn't know that that leads to Cube, so we should see that done pretty darn quickly. All the fast. As this eye does nothing but hit, no spells, no anything, just punch.
And I don't remember if Warmech's script gets changed whenever he is in the alt final boss, but both runners will get to see Warmech as that they made an agreement to require Warmech.
There is Odraun hitting that fancy level that he wants to be, and getting out of there. Black belt immune to all magic. There is only punch.
Yeah, like you said, immune until the 3 and 256 comes through, but he is safe, he is saved, and we are happy to see that. We don't want to see any lost grinds tonight.
Yep. Odraun going and getting those white mages back up. Confirmed, they're also all 3 white mages. They're using life 2 instead. And then just probably going to stop at the inn. Yep. Never seen Sky Maze, but I haven't seen Sky Maze before. What is this?
Rock Gen Sky. I did not realize that was on there either.
Yeah. Our runners agreed to some shenanigans. This could be another big equalizing point. As Odraun's doing Earth Cave first. That ogre roosing himself so he doesn't get punched and then they just leave. So I'm imagining Odraun's gonna pick up the Earth and Water Orbs first and then stop by Waterfall. Probably good routing that way. Or Waterfall into Sea Shrine, but taking advantage of Earth here because it's the furthest one out of the way.
Could be. We know he can't get into Sky yet without Cube, but...
Yep. But as it should know exactly where it is at this point.
I would think, yeah.
Yeah. Because he was keeping up with me in the AP tournament, there's no way he don't know. I say as if I was playing Final Fantasy. I was gonna say, someone told me there's a boss here, but oh nope, I don't see anything. Just blank screen.
Yep.
As Serisan is
just like there's gonna be no
cave.
boss on the floors beneath them either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just an empty Earth cave. They just gotta go grab an orb, right? Someone just left it on the floor unattended.
That's what I've always heard. Until I get the one time where there's like a nuke or something.
There is Serisan finally getting to the upper floor. Bunch of Hydras getting out of there because they do have mandatory Warmech. Which is there like a secret Warmech hidden somewhere that they would go?
Isn't the overworld sprite Warmech?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
I believe it is an overworld sprite when it's required.
Well, I don't see any splatter on the wall.
We have a green golem, which is not a green golem.
There is Warmech, and there is a Black Knight. Which, I mean, with this color palette, more of a blue knight, but you know what? It doesn't matter, he's gone. It's a robot sprite.
The temper coming out late as usual. If it were fast, it would also come out late. But second hit, 2,400 damage. Goodbye.
Yep. Hole in that Warmech. And here's Odraun. Again, I'm guessing it's going to be Waterfall and then... just because they're in the same area? What is this shenanigans? Skilla?
Gone. That's what it is.
I mean, it is gone. I don't know my Final Fantasy bosses enough. I'm just like, what is this?
I don't know what all the bosses can be on the shuffle, but there's quite a few. We have, I believe, Final Fantasy 2 sprites, 3 sprites, 4 sprites.
Yeah. Odraun getting that quick dip into Waterfall. Getting kind of annoyed by the Fenrisian combo. Which game is Scylla from? I don't know. Someone's gonna have to look it up.
It's not from 2, 3, or, you know, whatever they would be actually. 4, 5, and 6 are the ones that I played, and it's not from those. Beyond that, I couldn't tell you.
Quick
Must be
save.
from Tactics.
So Odraun, oh no, I know it was in Tactics. I played Tactics Advanced, which counts.
You mean Secret of Mana?
No! I mean, I've also played Secret of Mana, but... Tactics Advanced was the isekai version of Tactics.
The real version, right? Not the one that came to North America, which was just like a reskin Square game.
I don't think so. It was Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, and then there was an Advance 2, which was interesting. There were Lock and Moogles. It was definitely a Final Fantasy game and not a Secret of Mana game.
Was it the Game Boy Tactics? One of them was like a reskin game, if I recall.
You're thinking of Final Fantasy Adventure on the Game Boy, which
Okay.
was a reskinned Mana game. And I only know about that one because of shenanigans, essentially.
I know about it because I'm guessing I'm older than you.
I don't know, maybe. I'll date myself. I'm 32.
Okay, I'm not that much older then, so a few years. I did play all of them when they came out, though. Or, you know, I was older. I wasn't born when, I think, Final Fantasy, I was just born when 1 came out, but they are getting up there now.
There is Serisan picking up that key, which means he is in go mode. Just needs to go take care of Lich, as Odraun is taking care of business with our not Kraken. We're all babies. I mean, I'm basically a baby. Yeah, I only know about Final Fantasy Advance because I'm an LADXR runner. For April Fool's, I don't think it was last year, but the year before, the creator... apparently, if you take away the non-colored version of LADX from that Game Boy cartridge, you can fit the entirety of Final Fantasy Adventure in there. So after you picked up your first instrument, it teleported you to Final Fantasy Adventure, and you had to beat the tutorial.
Our tracker socket laying us know Final Fantasy 1 has a date of 1987, released in the US.
Odraun getting that second orb, which means just needs to go get that sky one, which means a quick trip to our good old crystal requiring lady to grab that and then just run up and see if Odraun has a better chance with that maze than Serisan did.
Serisan was in there a few, oh, 87 in Japan, okay, 90 in the US.
I think Zelda 1 was also 87 in Japan. Meanwhile, I was born same time as my favorite Zelda game, 91. It's fine, Saka, don't blame yourself. Odraun getting that cube and just beelining Tiamat. We are both runners, 2 orbs. Serisan halfway to 3rd Fiend, Odraun just getting in there and ready to deal with that maze. And then it's just going to be, how bad is Topher?
We can hope. I mean, it's short, so it's not like it's going to keep us here for an additional 30 minutes, so we can hope for the worst possible Temple of Fiends tonight, and we'll probably only see an additional 5 minutes if it's, absolutely terrible. And it has a good chance of being absolutely terrible.
Because everyone that I've witnessed has been pretty bad, so I'd like to keep my streak of bad Tophers up.
And the black belt can't get any more health. If we look at Serisan's black belt, he's at 999, so...
That's what 10 vitality will do to you when you go to level 42. Odraun also does still, per their agreement, have to take on that war mech.
Yes,
so,
and there's no way around that. He is blocking the path.
He is. Alright. Here comes the maze. After the Mandusa package.
And we saw our Black Knight there in Earth. We saw him for about half a second.
He was there?
And then he was gone.
Yeah. Odraun taking the last bit of heal, Serisan taking a nice house to save up before we go in here, and Serisan's ready for the dip. And the bats are mean, yay!
Does anyone actually remember the path to the top? Because Serisan's already taking on Temple Fiends Revisited.
Odraun's stream went black? Did he accidentally not keep the release? Uh-oh.
Well, we'll hope for that to come back. Meanwhile, Serisan making his way through. We probably know what happened, but let's verify. Fade coming out, not nuclear coming out from is that Tia 2? Whatever the Kraken 2. I don't remember. I think it's Kraken 2.
I was gonna say, lovely silence, it's the best. As Serisan punches their way through there.
Serisan making it clear beforehand to not switch to his audio, so that is why we're on silence right now.
It's a C-Pack. And fade it up.
And Thief taking a nap. Nuke comes out.
Nuke comes out, gets rid of all those Sahagin, except for that one. Is this one of those fights where there's one real chaos? Oop, there's Odraun coming back for that war mech. Just apparently a stream issue. A shaggin' wagon. And
Nuke taking out the one boss. Black belt was targeting the bottom, so he's probably got an extra round here.
Yep.
We might see a sub 50 here, which is impressive. And we do, in fact.
Yep. We do. Serisan going for that rematch against Pickles in the finals. As Odraun is just finishing up Tia. It happened. That said, still a beautiful show from both of our runners. And we have Serisan here. How are you feeling about getting that salty run back with Pickles?
Oh, hi. That's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Can I comment it again like I did last time and give you some terrible stuff?
I mean, there was a call out for Danny to roll this seed, and this is the nicest Danny seed I've had in a while.
I think it's the nicest Danny seed that's ever existed.
Sometimes it's the long con. I've said that in the past. It's hard to tell, right? Like, sometimes you just get the short end of the stick, and sometimes you get something fantastic. And this one was on the fantastic side. I mean, can't complain about the magic. I can't complain about the wizard placement. I got to skip one location. How awesome is that? I didn't have to go to Canaria Castle and get that ribbon.
I know, right? It's great. That said, how did you feel finding that eye in late ice after your long grind of sandwiches?
So, here's a funny story. Before the race started, I mentioned, hey, we're probably pre-cropped. We don't need a setup helper unless you want to see my webcam, where you will see my face and my perler art.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
Yeah, so you would have seen me just almost fall out of my chair in despondency when I saw the eye. I was like, this is the end. I am just performing for a finish, is how I felt at that moment. And, so glad it didn't end up that way, but at the same time, like, that was the moment where I was like, I might be out right here. And
I think the major factor was that Odraun got the key early with an early ordeals drop, which meant bottle into that ribbon, where you did not need either of those things.
Oh, then I got to skip 2.
Yeah, you skip bottle as well.
Yep. So just that little bit of difference. And Odraun ended up with the eye grind instead, which was significantly faster, but by then it was just too late because you had everything you needed and we were ignoring everything.
Sometimes
he
it'd
had
be
a
like
couple
that.
Minutes just checking the items you didn't have to check, plus checking a lot of tiles. Like he went back and checked Western Castle, things like that for grind tiles.
Yeah, all those key tile checks just to see. You just went with the overworld grind and it paid off.
It was all I needed, and it worked out well.
And there is Odraun crossing the finish line as well. VG to both of our runners for an amazing show, and both almost sub 50. Very impressive.
Very,
Yeah.
yes.
Let me tell you, sub 50 is not where I expected to be today because, all right, I did 3 practice seeds between yesterday afternoon, which yesterday afternoon was a miserable time for me, just like real life stuff. And then I did 2 practices that evening, and then I did 1 this morning, and not a one of them was faster than 58 minutes. So this is...
Well, did you get in the air at the 5-minute mark or 5.5-minute mark on those?
In one of them, yes.
Oh, wow.
The grinds were not there. Yeah.
Like, where would the canoe have been? Yeah. Anyway, hey, Odraun, how are you doing?
Doing alright.
I say, it was an amazing show from you. You found the eye tile, Serisan didn't, until it was too late, and it was very funny.
Yeah, I thought I found it pretty late, and I'm like, oh, he probably came here early and found this.
Nope. You want to tell him, Serisan?
So I didn't do ordeals until dead last, but I turned in the slab, found the sandwiches, did that grind, went to Crescent, revived party, went to ice, saw the eye tile, and like I felt myself shriveling. Like that was the moment I was like, this is already over unless this is a bad Topher, I think.
You lost the race, but you won the war.
Right? That's kind of what I thought, and I'm like, I mean, I gotta just keep pushing until the end, but it really did not feel good the whole time.
Well, it was a very, very fun race to watch. Within 3 minutes of each other is amazing finishes, both nearly sub 50. I mean, Odraun with a race time of 54, and Serisan, you've taken the win there with 47:03. Just a few key item checks was basically the only difference in between the two. I mean, even Serisan, you lost probably a minute and a half in the sky maze. Was that an agreement that you regretted making?
I regret nothing. Here's the thing. Sometimes you just have to put on a show.
Yeah.
I'm going to toss that over to Odraun because we didn't get to see your maze with how your stream cut out on the restream.
Yeah.
Like, it was literally Sky 3 and then suddenly Bridge of Destiny.
I went up all the way up because I went up, left, up, and then I'm like, there's nowhere to go. So I warped back to the previous floor, go in, go down and right, and it's right there. I'm like, oh.
You had warp? Oh, man.
Red mage free warp.
I didn't even look. I forgot that was a thing.
Which, by the way, you made us like for 30 seconds, we weren't even talking when you almost missed the eye tile. I mean, you probably had no intention of missing it, but it looked like you were going to warp out, and you were just menuing, so that was great.
He's like, get the extra touch, and I'm like, he's got to go down there, right? He's got to go down there, right?
Well, you couldn't miss it because the Oxyale was past the eye tile. You had to walk over it.
Is true.
Yeah. It's always nice when it's there, though, and not in the 6-pack.
I don't mind the 6-pack. I hate it when it's on the right side of the incentive room. I hate it in the incentive room, period. But, like...
That's fair.
The right side is infinitely worse.
How about those blue Ds with poison damage?
Oh my god. I was like, oh hey, that might be the grind. Nope, get out. We're leaving.
I saw one blue D in the entire seed, and I punched it before it acted. However, the Sarias also had damage poison, and they were right in front of ordeals for me. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah, Odraun found a nice frost D tile in, what is it, Astos' castle? Yeah, on one of those trap tiles, and we were like, oh man, that'll be great.
Yeah, I was considering it until they were like, hey, look at this poison we got.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you had to walk out of Frost Cave, so that could have been bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just watching you nope out of there was great, though. Just like, up, and he's gone.
That's always funny when you like, yeah, I found the grind, and you get like 3 fights in, and then suddenly it reveals the heel turn. And just like, oh.
It was like first fight, first thing they did was poison. It's just like, nope, we're out.
It's always funnier when you finally got your grind set up and you're down to just the solo black belt and you're like, yeah, it's just going to be 3 rounds of punches, and then suddenly the luchador mask comes on and you're like, what?
Both of you had a long fought way to this point. A lot of matches being in the secondary bracket. What did you guys think of this match, let's say, in comparison to your prior matches? I'll start with Odraun there.
I mean, I've just been expecting every match to knock me out of the tournament. Everyone I've gone against has just been like super experienced players, or like people who've gone far in tournaments previously, and I was just like, I'm here for a good time.
Well, I'm glad that I could meet your expectations. Odraun is a very skilled runner. As I mentioned in the last match that he had, I had to have the talk with both him and Kumo that they graduated. They're no longer ducks. You get past top 8 in a major tournament, you're no longer qualified for the Duck Derby. So, seeing 2 runners go from the Duck class to be promoted, like force promoted, in one tournament is astounding, because until winter tournament, I don't think we ever had one. So, that really speaks to the quality of runner that Odraun is, and the opponents he's had are indeed all scary. Caleb, Jesus the Frog, and then Fry Teeth, and then Kumo. Kumo having a similar run of was it Chanigan, Burt Reynolds, and Jesus. There was danger coming up behind me on this one. And Odraun, I was worried the whole time. I was glad that we got to have shenanigans.
I mean, you gotta have shenanigans, especially this late in the tournament, and all the earlier matches were like pure basic flags. I'm like, I'm gonna start suggesting extra stuff, just for the fun.
Yeah.
I was glad to not have to do Volcano. Like, that dungeon is it's super fast, but it's super boring as a result. Like, you're just going through and you're hoping that you never get an encounter because you can walk on enough damage tiles. And, like, there's no drama to it. Whereas Earth, you're like, there's a million steps here. And why did the back-to-backs happen, like, 5 steps from the orb?
Ugh.
Wait, did you go in off hard reset or no?
I don't remember.
don't
I
think
do remember
had-
getting bat blocked by like every possible bat on third floor.
You got blocked by every possible bat in Topher too.
Yes, also true. They formed a diagonal barricade.
Beautiful.
None of you got Death Touch. I mean, we saw the Death Touch spider, but it wasn't that big a deal by the time it came out. I mean, that could have been so much worse. It could have been nuke spiders. It should have been nuke spiders.
He was a spooky boy.
You know,
Just
I saw
in
that
time
white
for spooky
mage
season.
die, and I'm like, wait, what just happened?
I thought he might have cast Brack or something. I'm like, oh no, wait, no, just Death Touch.
Casual Death Touch. Well, I think probably final thoughts. Odraun, you wanna give us your final thoughts now that you finally free to just be a casual viewer like the rest of us?
I just want to thank you guys for commentating, Socket for tracking, everyone who watched, Speed Gaming for letting us put on the show, and I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to fight against Maddie in the next Duckling tournament.
Don't worry, we'll schedule a race later.
Maddie, you forced him out of Duckling. You're gonna have to pay for that later.
Well, I mean, see, my final thoughts on it, just in the one thing I have to say. Even before this, Odraun came, what would have been semi-finals to having to face me in finals for the AP tournament. So I had no questions coming in here. He's an amazing runner. If he came from Duckling this year, that's insane. And now I'm terrified of him. I'm gonna go hide.
Serisan, you are moving on to face a challenging opponent, I'm sure. What are your thoughts coming up on that match, and final thoughts about this match?
Well, I mean, Pickles already beat me once, so there's some feelings there. And he's been very entertaining, popping into race rooms and cracking jokes all along. And Pickles is a great guy. I'm looking forward to the rematch. I think it's a best of 3 if I remember the rules right. I don't know, but it's going to be a good time. We'll figure all that out. As far as today, Odraun, again, GG. This was a lot of fun. Even the part where I had the heart attack after seeing the eye, and Fiend, Maddie, appreciate you doing comms. Socket for the tracking. Chat, thank you for hanging out. I hope that we put on an entertaining show for y'all. And thank you one and all. Thank you Speed Gaming for hosting. Thank you for just holding the tournament. This has been a fun tournament, in part because we kind of diverged from recent tournament meta and allowed Black Belt to do Black Belt things. So that's been a nice change of pace.
So many punch cannons.
Definitely fun to watch. Maddie, before we close things out, was there anything you had for the runners or for the stream?
The other thing I have to say is I'm looking forward to that salty Serisan Pickles run back. Let's go, baby. I'll commentate.
So am I. I want to thank Socket for tracking for us tonight, pressing all the buttons, keeping us commentators, or I'll speak only for myself, keeping me in line. Most commentators commentate and don't have to be kept in track by the trackers. Maddie, been a pleasure talking with you in the booth tonight, and our runners, you can follow them down there. If I don't think the link's working tonight, but you can look and see to follow them on Twitch. I'm sure coming up, it's going to be an amazing race in between Cersei and Pickles, so we'll look forward to that. And want to thank Speed Gaming for hosting us. And for everyone watching, I hope you have a pleasant rest of your day, and thank you for joining us.
Have a great night, all. Hydrate, and we'll see you for the finals.